Hey friends, thanks for clicking on this video and joining in on what is an unboxing of my new acquisition. Not. Yes, I do have a new revolver. It's one from Cimarron Arms. And what it is it is a copy of an 1860 Army, which is a Richards conversion, and it's in 44 special. Okay, and this particular revolver I chose just simply because I love the elegant lines of the 1860 Army. When you look at an 1860 Army and compare it to the Richards conversion, it's the same gun, with the exception is this shoots cartridge and this shoots black powder, obviously. As far as the fit and finish, everything looks great. I really like the grips because you don't have that pukey Uberti color. It is stamped across the top. Let's see if I can get my Cimarron Company, Fredericksburg, Texas, A. Uberti. Okay. And you can see how the conversions worked back in the day. They had a ring right here. Now, although this particular ring is actually built into the frame. Okay, so you can get conversion parts and convert one of these into a cartridge shooting revolver, but you do get a ring. And if you're interested in that, you can go to the Duelist 1954, 1959 channel, Mike Bellevue, and he just recently converted a couple of his cap and ball revolvers, and he shows everything that is involved in doing that. I elected not to do that. But as far as the revolver itself, it's got really good coloring in the frame. It's an 8-inch barrel. And from what I've observed from a few YouTube channels that are out there, this particular revolver is very accurate. Okay. As far as the ammunition is concerned, yes, it's in 44 special. And Hickok 45, if you go to that channel, he's shooting one of these in 45 Colt. And he's actually shooting it with jacketed bullets. Mike Bellevue states that he would shoot anything through it except plus P, although he prefers to shoot and load black powder in his cases instead of like a factory gunpowder. But you know, normally you get your regular stuff with this, and I'm not going to bore you with that. Yes, you get your little "I'm your Huckleberry" sticker. But what I want to do is, before I continue on with this and how I plan on shooting this and reloading this, is that I want to read owner's notice from Cimarron Arms. Okay, and of course this is just the regular thing: quality inspection, repair policy, shipping damage, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. But I want to get down to the point that says void of repair policy notice. Okay, this is what Cimarron Arms states, and I was quite surprised to see this. Now, we all know that Cimarron, you know, when they send something off to Uberti to be made, Cimarron expects a little better quality than what you would normally get, and I think that's emphasized when I read this. Okay, void of repair policy notice. Only new commercially manufactured ammunition should be used in Cimarron firearms. The use of reloads voids any and all repair policy on the cylinder, barrel, and frame. Well, without that, what have you got, right? Cimarron cannot be held liable for reloading errors. Each firearm, now this is what caught my attention, each firearm has been proof test fired at approximately 1.5 times the pressure of factory loaded ammunition before leaving the factory, thus assuring strength is sufficient for standard factory pressures. So that's a good thing to know, and I can understand now why Mike Bellevue makes the statement he would shoot everything up to plus P loads. Okay, so with that being stated, I have a little bit of factory ammunition left, 44 Special, but there's a channel out there, Plowboy Ghost, that demonstrates something. I kind of want to demonstrate this here with a caution, okay? What he demonstrates and what he says is that you can carry these with 6 loaded in the revolver. Now, as you can see, it's got a firing pin, so obviously you cannot set this down on a live round and be completely safe. But what he demonstrates is he takes 2 bullets. I'm going to use 2 empty cases. I just resized them, and I'm going to drop them in, because what he states is that you can actually load all 6 and lower the hammer between 2 rounds. Now, that's no different than an 1860 Army that's got the pins. You load it up, load all 6, cock the hammer, rotate the cylinder, and you drop that hammer on the pin, and it locks it in place. So you can safely carry 6 loaded rounds in this. And because they're built with the same mechanisms, basically on the same frame, you should be able to do the same thing. So I just dropped in those 2 empty cases. I'm going to spin it around to where I can cock the hammer. I'm on what would be a live round. I'm going to lower the hammer and just pull it back enough to drop that hammer between 2 rounds. And I'm between 2 rounds right now. Okay. Now, before I go any further, the safest way to carry these is on an empty chamber, or don't load it up at all. But if you're going to carry it with 6, make sure it's in your holster and you have a strap that comes around the back of the hammer, so the hammer will not allow the cylinder to rotate if you get caught in a branch or something walking through the woods. But here's my caution. I'm between the 2 rounds. If you spin this hard enough, you can now get that hammer on a live round. You want to be very, very careful. Let me demonstrate that once again. Okay, I'm between the 2 rounds. Now, if you just do it like this, it's not going to go anywhere. And if it's in your holster with a strap behind the hammer, it's not going to go anywhere. But if you're out and about and you're carrying it in your hand like this and something goes wrong, you've just now turned the cylinder onto a live round. With that being said, you do you, you do me, and if you want to be perfectly and absolutely safe with one of these things, don't put any bullets in it at all. Okay? So, there's that. Get these out of here. And the only thing that I got to get used to in this is the loading lever, just simply because on most of your modern day revolvers and in the 1873 Colt, you just go straight back with the ejection rod. You have to swing the ejection rod out and then down. I got to get used to that. And with that being said, it's just a little bit of grit. I don't know if you can hear it or not. And I'm sure that if I was to shoot this quite a bit, that grittiness would work its way out, or I could just very simply, work it with some emery cloth. Now, safety. At full cock, and hopefully you can see that right here there's a little screw in the hammer. Take a screwdriver, manipulate that screw, and you see that little plunger coming out and down? You bring that all the way down like that. You can see it. Whoops. You can see it right here. That is the safety in this gun. With that hammer all the way lowered, that safety lever, that safety mechanism stops and prevents that hammer from getting into the live round. But with that being said, who of us are going to carry a screwdriver out with us, out and about, to move the mechanism back? Well, in fact, you have to manipulate it with your finger, I think. Yeah, you got to grab it and manipulate it with your finger. You operate it, the screwdriver, to see when I try to use a screwdriver to get it off safety, all it does is it just unthreads the screw. So you have to manipulate it with your finger. Okay, now on to the 5-year warranty. Obviously this reads as a generic warranty, but I want to point out 5 things down here that you might want to be aware of. This agreement does not apply under the following general conditions. Any one of these conditions voids this agreement for free repair of this product. Number 1, has been worked on or disassembled for any reason by unauthorized service personnel. So, to be safe with the pressures, you can take one of these 44 special cartridges, load it with black powder, and you're never going to exceed any pressure that's built into the gun. But like all black powder revolvers, we all know that when you shoot it, you have to get into the mechanism, or at least I do, to clean it. And I clean these things almost religiously. Okay, so if I were to reload some of my 44 special cartridges with black powder, you know darn well I'm getting into the mechanism to clean this. And according to the statement, I'm not authorized. Voids the warranty. Number 2, has non-factory parts or any unauthorized replacement part installed. Spring kits included. So we all know that these black powder revolvers have some failing parts in them. Uberti included, such as the spring that actuates the cylinder lock and the trigger, and or that spring that's on the back of the hand that rotates the cylinder. Those things are a wear point, but because this is made to Cimarron's specs, should not expect that to happen. But if it does happen and I decide to order a replacement part, then you would, according to what's stated right here, be avoiding the warranty because I'm not the authorized repair person. Keep that in mind. Number 3, has been subjected to abuse, misuse, negligent, or accident. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Number 4, is damaged while shooting reloaded ammunition, any ammunition other than factory new ammunition, and in a bracket, ammunition loaded by small commercial loaders does not qualify as factory ammunition, unbracketed, or defective factory ammunition. Now you can understand that pretty easily, but we all are very well aware of squib loads. Sometimes, once in a while, you'll get an underpowered, unloaded, pretty much factory ammunition. And that squib is when you shoot it and the bullet gets lodged halfway in the barrel. If you're not paying attention to the noise, to the report, you should be able to identify it by saying, wait a minute, that didn't sound quite right. Take the barrel off and look down that barrel. But at the same time, if you're not paying attention and you cock it again and shoot, you're going to have a major malfunction. Well, Cimarron will not cover that. And I'll just about bet you're going to have to fight tooth and nail with the manufacturer of your factory round that wasn't the problem. So good luck with that, right? Okay, number 5. Defect is the result of normal wear and tear. Worn parts are not a defect. So if I shoot, say 1,000 rounds through this and I have an issue and I send it back, it's got a defect. Oh no, that's normal wear and tear. So the warranty really doesn't do anybody any good, does it? It just doesn't. It's a bunch of loaded language that means absolutely nothing when it comes to warranty. That's my pet peeve. Now, for me personally, this is how I reload my ammunition, okay? This is a 240 grain home cast bullet, and this is what I shoot in my 44 Magnum and in my 44 Special, okay? That's what I shoot. And I shoot Trail Boss, okay? Now you will probably recognize that this is a commercial can that most of the times 1 pound of gunpowder comes in this container. With Trail Boss, you only get 9 ounces because of the way this gunpowder is actually made. And let me just see if I can show you here real quick. I'm going to put some in the cap and I'm going to turn the camera around and let you look at it. And that's what it looks like. Looks like little donuts. And because it's such a light powder weight-wise, it's very difficult to double charge a case. Okay, so just bear that in mind if you're going to use Trail Boss. And now that it's back on the shelves, I hope to get a couple more containers of it real soon. Now I like this Trail Boss. If you scroll back to a couple videos back to where I actually did some shooting with my Rossi R92, you'll see that there's little to no recoil with this gunpowder at all, and it's actually very quiet shooting also. So just so that everybody understands how I do my reloading, when you order a set of dies, and in particular from Lee, you get this nice little chart of a lot of powder and their recommended usage of it. And when I say that, you go over to the line that talks about Trail Boss, and it says you want to start with 4 grains of Trail Boss, and you never want to exceed 5.2. Okay, so what I do is I take that number and I find the midway point. Then I go just a little below that. So my reloads with Trail Boss is actually 4.6 grains. And that's what my powder throw or charger is set at. So I know that if my powder measurer throws a little less or maybe a little bit more, I'm well within the recommended reloading chart that's offered right here through Lee. And you can also go online and download some more information regarding this Trail Boss. Okay. So anyhow, with all of this being stated, I am working on getting some of these reloaded with Trail Boss. And what I'm going to do is shoot a few rounds of this factory. This is HSM or HMS cowboy loads. And when I shoot these, I'm going to be shooting these through my chronograph so I can see what the feet per second are. And if I can adjust my reloads to be a little above that, not a little above it, a little below it, or equal to, then that's what I'm going to maintain all my reloads at. So anyhow, I guess there's enough said about that. I'm very pleased to have received this. Fit and finish is really good, if I hadn't already mentioned it. And I like the coloring of the grips. It's not that ugly color that you traditionally get with Uberti with their grips. So anyhow, stay tuned for the first shots. And I bid everybody adieu. If you found this video of interest or have any further questions, please go to Duelist 1954. Mike Bellevue will answer all your questions for you. I hope you give it a thumbs up and share it with your bestest of friends. Bye.